Hey, welcome to Be That, Create That, the podcast where we teach women in leadership to step confidently into their next level in career and life, using some intentional action steps so that they can be who they admire and create what they desire. I'm Trienne. I'm a leadership performance coach, inspired working with women in areas of all leadership and personal development. A true personal development junkie because I have seen the shifts that have happened in my life and in the lives of my clients and teams with these types of tools applied. I believe happiness equals progress and fulfillment is then the result. So I know with small intentional actions in leading ourselves every day, we can make the impact we'd like to see in the world around us through leadership and influence. In this podcast, you're going to hear everyday leadership lessons from my clients, my teams, or my own experiences that have improved communication, culture, collaboration, ultimately creating a ripple effect throughout our networks. So let's get started and let's get intentional. Hey, Trienne here, your leadership performance coach. Thank you so much for coming back to the Be That, Create That channel. I wanted to share with you guys today 3 ways that you can have the biggest impact on leadership. And that starts with ourselves, right? I teach all the time that our leadership comes specifically from leading ourselves first. So today what I want to think about is whether you're a business owner, you are a manager, you're in charge of a team, whatever it is, your leadership style has a trickle-down effect that is going to impact everything and everyone in your organization. So how do you make your impact the best that it can be? Well, I'm going to give you 3 ways today, plus a bonus that is always my favorite. But we have to think about the way that leadership flows in our organization. We know that like a stream, the energy and the positivity can flow through an organization from the top down. It goes through every department, it goes through every work group, it goes through every committee, it goes through every individual. So some things about leadership really never change. You want someone who is in full integrity. You want someone who is consistent. You want someone you feel is fair, has some empathy. And I feel like one of the most important things that you want is a vision. You want to make sure that that leader for that company has a vision for where they want for the team and for the company to go, but most importantly, for themselves. So there's a lot of different ways that leadership is changing these days, specifically the workforce demographics and technology. But leadership style can adapt, and it can also, if we don't adapt, really lose relevance. And people are going to start to be reluctant to follow a leader who one thing that they're consistent with is that they refuse to change. There's a lot going on these days in the workforce. There's a lot going on in the companies, and things are changing quickly. And we have to be ready. We have to be ready to adapt to that. And the only thing that we know is going to consistently happen is that change is coming. So we have to be able to manage that change. And we also have to show that we are open to that growth, that we have a growth mindset. So an organization that has a really strong leadership, has a really strong positive culture, feels really natural. It feels really authentic. The open communication at all leadership levels is really important. And putting it out on the table, the team really understands the vision, the goals, and they have some sort of input into what that vision and those goals can be and how they can be achieved. Employees and team members want to really feel a strong connection to the organization, to the purpose, to the vision, to where it's going. And they want to know that they have something to do with that. When leadership is not there, when they don't have a specific person that they can follow, then the culture feels toxic at its worst. Communication from the leaders to the employees is like meaningless. It doesn't hold any weight or value because they're not used to that person holding on to their word. This becomes filled with rumors and backstabbing and people trying to one-up themselves and a lack of trust. And employees just have no idea how they fit into the team's vision or the organization. And they don't really understand how in that big picture, they're so important in order to make things happen. So that can be really frustrating. And we know that most of the time now, a reason that a person leaves a job is not the job itself. It's the people that are leading them or the people that they're working with feeling like they're not valued, feeling like they're not seen, feeling like they're not heard. So we want to work together to change that, right? Well, the first thing that you can do to have the biggest impact on your leadership is being authentic. Authenticity or leading by example. So there's really no substitute for this. You are who you are. You are who you say you are. No matter what room that you go into, you are consistently showing up in your values and what your team expects you to show up like. It doesn't mean that you can't have an off day. It means you can have an off moment and then you self regulate and then you go back to that authenticity. Now, yeah, sometimes leaders' interactions with employees, you can't tell what their values are. Like they're covered up. They're not natural. It's almost feels like they're hiding something. And we want to remember that as an authentic leader, when we make a mistake, those mistakes are proof that we're learning. The way that we handle a mistake, it's an opportunity for us to learn how we want to or how we don't want to do something. And when someone makes a mistake and your leader becomes angry, then the employee is like, am I allowed to make a mistake? Am I not allowed to make a mistake? Don't you make mistakes, right? So authenticity or leading by example is really important to make one of your biggest impacts on leadership. So good leadership is going to really focus on building those honest relationships with employees. We're going to make sure that we're throwing in some value, that their input is important, and really help guide people's actions as a mentor rather than feeling like we need to one up them or we need to know more than they do. We want to make sure that we are staying authentic to ourselves. The second thing that we want to think about when it comes to really making the biggest impact on our leadership is communication. So honest, positive, clear communication can really energize and engage a team like nothing else. If you communicate with your team with some enthusiasm and a belief in your vision, your team's going to follow. And most of the time, they're going to mirror or match that energy. Plus, they're going to help you working to fulfill those goals in more of a stronger buy-in cooperation type of style. And one way to encourage this connection is to help employees understand why we are doing what we're doing as a group or an organization and really inspire some of that enthusiasm in them towards that common goal. And sometimes that starts with asking questions. I always go back from a communication standpoint when I'm working with my clients. It's like, okay, you want to talk so that others will listen. How about you listen so that others will talk? And then you'll see what happens to your team. That's going to create buy-in. That's going to create the energy that we need to move forward, is to open up the ability to have conversations together. The third thing that we want to look at when we're talking about having the biggest impact on our leadership is people building, developing the leadership that's on your team. So empowering the team. And I've talked a lot about this in my trainings, but a great culture means we need to have a great team. It's not a one-person show. And we want to think about ways that we can be supportive to the other people that are on our team so that we can create effectiveness across the board. So good leaders really think about their employees' strengths, and they help employees start to contribute some of those strengths where they can see them on their own. They take the time to notice, they acknowledge the good work, and then they also make sure that their people feel really valued because they receive regular, meaningful feedback. There's room for these, right? So mistakes are opportunities, right? So when people feel supported, valued, confident, they start to show those things within their team. And then you're starting to get support from other people on that team and you're building that empowerment. Okay. Number 4, I'm going to give you a bonus today. So number 4, for you to make the biggest impact on leadership of your team is to reach out when you know you need help. They say it takes a village to raise children. Well, it takes a community also to build a business and to build an entrepreneur and to build a leader. While you're growing your leadership skills, it's going to help you to get some mentorship, to gain some guidance. And it's also going to be a way for you to gain credibility with your team because they see that you are in that growth mode and growth mindset, just like you are expecting from them. And then again, they're going to recognize that you have that buy-in to the vision of the company, and they're going to see more where they can fit in because they're going to be leading by your example. So in terms of leadership, if you do nothing else over the next month but grow your skills in authenticity, communication, and your people building and empowering your team and learning when to reach out when you need help. If you do nothing else but those things, it's at least going to help give you some credibility, like I mentioned, and you're going to see a dramatic change in the positivity of your team and your culture. And remember how I was talking about like even streams, everything flows down the hill, right? Then when we are thinking about our groups and organization, however we start at the top, that authenticity, that communication, that supporting that your team through their own levels, through reaching out and showing that, you're trying to learn too. All of those behaviors are going to start a ripple effect. They're going to start dripping on the other people that are in our company and our team so that those people feel empowered to do some of these same things. Remember that the first person that we have to lead is ourselves. We are creating a leadership lifestyle and we're creating opportunities for other people to also create a leadership lifestyle for themselves. No shame in the game, no blame whatsoever, but always uplifting. Okay. So everyone deserves to be led well, especially you. And I want to make sure that these type of trainings help you the most to lead yourself and your teams so that we can create that positive ripple effect across our organizations. Thank you guys so much for jumping on, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey guys, Trienne Top here, your leadership performance coach. So excited to share with you our upcoming 3-day series that we have coming. It's called the Positive Culture Series. It's 3 parts that we are going to talk about and really break down engagement of your culture, your communication, and ways that you can start today, right now, this week, implementing some positive strategies to make a turn in that culture from any position in your company. Now, it's going to be simple. I didn't say easy, but it's going to be simple with a few strategies that you can take away from this 3-day series. Okay. Now, you also have an opportunity to jump into my VIP for this series, where you're going to get all 3 days worth of the replays ready for you to your inbox. It's going to be going live inside the Female Leader headquarters for the duration of the series, and then it will go down a week after. So as a VIP, you're going to get these videos to your inbox. You're also going to be given a one-on-one strategy call with me for 20 minutes that we can specifically talk about and break down your team or the situations that you are looking at in your organization. So again, we can come up with a strategy to make a difference right away on the positivity of your work culture. The next thing that you're going to get is a free training from me called the 5 Languages of Appreciation, so that we can work on team building as an individual inside your organization, which will also help guide the positivity of the culture. I look so forward to seeing you guys inside the series. Even if you are a replay girl like myself, make sure that you register for this training so that you get all of the updates. And I look forward to working with you guys soon.